Hey everyone, hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. I'm waiting for my girl Maddie to jump in here, and we're going to give y'all a great conversation about the importance of motivation. What's up? So, once Maddie jumps in, we're going to talk about this motivation, encouraging survivors to how to stay motivated, as well as enlightening family members and loved ones on things they can do to help survivors stay motivated, and how the importance of having support from everybody helps. Hey, Maddie. Waiting for you to jump. Here we go. Let's see.
Hello, hi
Hey,
Tracy.
Alan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for.
I'm great, great. So I hadn't really got started. I was just letting them know we're going to be talking about what are some great things of how to keep us motivated, and for family members, for loved ones, all of the above. So
Mhm.
first, if Maddie will go ahead and introduce herself, let everyone know a little bit about her. This wonderful book that she wrote. She has a lot going on, so we got a whole list. So I need Maddie to introduce herself first before we jump into this.
Oh yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Tracy. So, hi everybody. My name is Maddie. I am a hemorrhagic stroke survivor as of May 30th, 2017. So it's been about 5 years. In that time, a lot has happened. I've written two books. One of them is about my experience with stroke recovery, which is pretty cool. Um, and now I'm also working full time and I live independently. So and then have a lot of other stuff going on the side as well. So yeah, like to be a disability advocate, um, hopefully a good support for other stroke survivors, and I just love connecting with this community.
That is awesome, Maddie. Thank you. I'm telling y'all, she's doing some wonderful things. She just gave y'all the brief synopsis, but she's doing some. So that's awesome. But today's topic was definitely talking about motivation and how to keep us motivated as survivors of things. And if you read the caption that I wrote, I was talking about apathy and motivation, and generally just speaking about what apathy is, just the lack of motivation, not feeling it, not having the desire to do these things. And I've experienced it myself as a survivor, and I've worked with survivors that truly experience. And it's so important for me to allow family members to understand it's not just that they don't want or we don't want to. There's something that our brain disassociates with the actual push, in a sense. And I'm using, so I'm breaking down the term of apathy in layman's terms to understand that apathy, we want to push forward, but it's something that actually works with depression that we don't really have control over. So when we lose that lack of motivation, as family members and people around, don't just say, oh, they're just unmotivated. Try to encourage us to push further. Try to give us things. Try to keep us motivated in the ways of, or I was saying, set simple goals for us. Just do things that will enlighten us, to keep us happy and to keep us motivated. So always, one thing I always say to people is, I have to be around positive people. Positivity means so much. I can't be around anybody negative. My surroundings just have to be positive all the time. Even if I'm feeling a little down, it's always, I need my surroundings to try to uplift me in ways. So I just wanted to throw that out there, just to talk about the caption that I wrote, and just to speak it so people can understand what that is and how to keep us going from there. So, but I'm gonna throw it over to you, Maddie.
Right. So one thing that you said, Tracy, I think is very interesting is, and maybe is not often talked about, at least from my experience, is that, like you were saying, we do go through periods of unmotivation, of feeling, sad or depressed. And I think it is important to acknowledge the fact that that happens and that it is completely normal and is a stage of recovery. And one thing that I like to say is, it's important for us to acknowledge the fact that we feel that way, that we're having feelings of depression, anxiety, or just sadness with our situation or whatever. It's important to acknowledge that. But then what are we going to do with that? How are we going to turn that around into, like you said, Tracy, something positive? Like, how are we going to take these negative feelings? We don't want to unpack and stay there. We want to acknowledge it, and then we want to move forward and find a way to use that in a positive way. And that, I think, can be the challenge.
Oh, definitely could be a challenge. So in your with your experience as a survivor, where do you get your motivation from, and what things have you done to keep yourself motivated and uplifted to continue to push and continue to fight every single day, as every day of living now is a constant fight?
Exactly. No, that's a big question, but I would say for myself, I draw motivation from a lot from my support system. So I'm very lucky in that I have a very loving and caring family, and my siblings and my parents have always been there to support me. So I acknowledge the fact that I'm very lucky that I have that, and I know not everyone does, but for me that's been a huge they've been a huge support for me, and they motivate me to keep moving forward even if I'm having days where I don't want to do certain things, or I'm feeling like I'm lacking energy. My support system, my family will always push me to go beyond like what I think my limits are. So I think for one, I draw a lot of inspiration from them, from my support system. But then I also try to draw like to how do I say this? To get when I'm feeling unmotivated, for instance, what I try to do is I think about what works for me, like what activities I enjoy doing, like what makes me happy and what makes me happy in this moment. Maybe that's something as simple as like taking a minute break to do a meditation. Maybe it's getting up and going outside for a walk. Maybe it's reading a book. Or maybe it's calling a friend and speaking on the phone with someone. It like whatever could help elevate my mood in that moment is what I'll do when I'm feeling like unmotivated. Call a friend, just talk to someone. That usually always gets me feeling like better. Doing something like this, like sharing stories on like on a podcast or on like Instagram live, connecting with other people. And that, I mean, it can change. It's obviously different for each person, but whatever makes you feel better, I think in moments when you're really feeling like you lack that motivation, or you lack the energy, or you don't feel like you can go forward, it's important to take a step back and take like a minute for yourself.
That is great, Maddie. I think that is a great idea. And even for people that's just jumping in or jumping on and off, one great thing you just said of taking a moment. Take a moment to find that simple thing that's going to make you smile, that's going to make you happy. And when you said that, it made me think of, I can't think of what show, but it's like calling that lifeline. Like it's like everybody needs to have that lifeline that they can call to say, hey, it's just, even if the person, you may have to tell them, I don't necessarily want something, let them know ahead of time, you are my lifeline. So at this moment to say, hey, I know you don't have time to talk, you're my lifeline. So your lifeline understands on the other end and say, hey, I don't have time to talk, but let me answer this call, or let me talk to my friend real fast, or let me check on them. So that right there becomes something that they know, hey, I have this person. And I'm actually getting emotional saying it, but it's a great thing to have.
No.
Do that. And the great thing is, because I have a family support that does that for me, and I have friends that they know that I don't have to talk to them all the time, that if it comes to that, hey, what do you need? And they're there for you. So that's great for people that don't know that. That's an excellent thing for them to look at. And I'm glad you said that, because I forgot about it. But so many people need to know that they need that support. They need that person that they can call on and not have to worry about telling them or talking to them about what's going on. It's just something, boom. Hey, you're there. I need that support. I need to stay motivated in some type of way. So I'm glad you said that, because I totally forgot. A lot of people ask me about that, but that's something I just do it on a regular basis, but I forgot to mention that. There's something people really need to have. People need to know that they can call those people. And then it actually made me think about, it would be great for people that may not have that lifeline to say, hey, maybe even if we decided to do it, Maddie, like, hey guys, something, if you don't have that support team, we can be your lifeline. We can be.
No, exactly. Like, reach out. I love connecting with people. That's something that I just love more than most things. So if anyone is in need of support, or maybe you just want to talk to someone,
Yes.
Talk to me and Tracy. We definitely love to connect and learn from each other.
That and so and the great thing is, like, I don't know if you read the caption or you may have, but the things that you're saying is everything I posted in the caption with talking to people and collecting information. That takes you to a whole nother level when you can talk to other people. Like, yes, somebody that has not had a stroke, they may not understand things you're going through, or a survivor in a sense. And the reason I don't always say stroke survivor in a sense is because I've been connected so much with other survivors in the sense of even MS survivors that are going through the same thing. They may not have had the stroke, but they're dealing with the same thing a survivor has went through, a stroke survivor has went through. So all of those same things, we kind of resonate in a sense. So that's why sometimes I'll say stroke survivor and survivor, but we're all survivors in a sense, just to give it understanding. So, but as far as communication, understanding and collecting knowledge and figuring out things. So a lot of people get unmotivated because they don't know the things. They don't know they haven't picked up the information on how to reach out to people or the things to do to continue to thrive in their recovery, and just resources to have. So to be able to reach out to connect with people that can offer those resources, that's a huge thing for you as well. So then just talking about just building that community all the way around, and then for a person to actually push them to stay motivated and keeping a routine, something that's going to keep them encouraged, something that's going to keep them pushing and give them that encouragement. And so today may not be their good day, but a routine, they know they have something to look for the next day. Oh, I was trying to read.
Yeah, sorry. I know I was going to comment, but then I started reading and then I forgot what I
So that's something that does happen with survivors. We may go away and forget very quickly what you're about to say.
Oh, I think I did kind of remember what I was going to say, though. Just
okay.
Support systems. Like, yes, I like what you're saying, Tracy, too. Like, we just reiterating having like that lifeline, or even just like friends. Maybe you don't talk all the time, but like someone that you know like would be there for you, whatever. And it's just another tool in your recovery toolbox, so to speak. You know, like, it's important to build up like a little toolbox. Keep going back to that word.
Yeah, that's a great word. It's a toolbox. It's a toolbox. It is.
Yes, it's a tool in our toolbox to help us through periods of unmotivation or, depression or sadness. So any way we can build that up is good, and always happy to connect and be that resource for any of you.
And really it's great with even with some of the survivors that I connect with. We may say we're going to get on a call to work out and things like that, but we always end up changing information, and it's a great thing. I built some great relationships with them. It's like I have some that I would usually, like, we started off with, hey, let's work out together, things like that I talk to on a regular basis. Now it's like, what was your day like? Oh, let me tell you about this crazy thing where I was trying to catch a rabbit and somebody did. So we just have great conversations. Then we begin to pick up things like, wow, I didn't know that happened, or I didn't know, I never thought about this. So it basically just saying, like, just the exchange of information as now making friends, and then figuring out, again, just talking about that knowledge and understanding, hey, something I didn't know before or something I never thought about before that could be for myself. So all of these things are great. Just connect with people on a regular basis.
Exactly. No, connecting is a great way to work on your own recovery. And I don't know, like, I've just found so many benefits from it, apart from like expanding my network and, like making new friends. It's also just great when you connect with people, helps you build all of those cognitive skills too. Like, I remember in the beginning of the stroke, after the stroke, one of my biggest challenges was sustaining a conversation. That sounds kind of dumb, but like talking to someone for longer than 2 minutes was like a huge challenge. And that's something I had to work really hard at, like to be able to do a live like this for 30 minutes. Like, the you connect with people, and even if like speech is a trouble, like even just attempting.
That's huge. I'm glad you said that, Maddi, because I would say, even for myself in the beginning, I've always been a person that talk and do things, and I'm a very fast talker.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, that was one thing. I would go about doing something and I talk very fast, but then I would have these moments that I'll just go completely blank.
Yes, I still have that sometimes.
Girl, I still do it. So I remember right in the beginning, of my stroke, somebody asked me to come speak about health and wellness because I jumped right back into it. So I never thought like to think about, hey, I did have the disconnection with my brain. Am I going to be able to sustain a conversation and just hold without? And I never thought about it. Jump right in. I'm talking, and mid sentence, I just went blank. Just like, what the hell? So I went blank for a good, I don't even know for how long, but I was just like, something in my head just said, change the subject. So then after I was telling one of my siblings, she go, hey, that's maybe something that you could use in the beginning. Say, hey guys, I am a survivor. If I start talking about this and I go blank, you got, listen, don't hold it against me. That's just my brain just trying to rewire itself.
Yeah.
But literally I had to learn, but over time it was just continuing to have these things and continue to step up and talk. It helped me to build this thing and to really get my brain to understand, hey, let's reconnect a little different here, a little faster. So therefore I could sustain a 30-minute conversation. And I do still have those blank moments, but at the same time, the more you do it, it's just like,
it's like a muscle. You just work it improves.
And that's what it is, just constantly. So all of those, and this is somebody, I can't think of his name, one of the survivors, I asked him, he's like, oh, he's always encourages, hey, can you get up here? Let's talk about this. So he's one that always gives me a lot of subjects to talk about. So I asked him one day, I said, you going to get on live with me? He goes, no, my face is not going to let me do that. But that's what I said to him. I said, this is something. I said, we're not judging you in a sense, but I want you to start even if we don't have to get on live, we can do one to get you the practice to start doing this and bring these conversations out. And then in the sense of, if you're feeling comfortable with me or anybody else, that we don't have to go live, just to get you in the sense of doing it, because he wants to, and always giving me topics like, hey, this week, can you guys talk about that? Because when I reached out to you, I was like, it's random topics somebody will give me if I can't think of on my own, but it's great. But like somebody like that, he goes, okay, well, one of my goals are going to be for me to overcome my aphasia and just say, hey, I'm jumping on here and I'm doing it. I'm just making it happen.
I love that concept too of just like starting before you're ready and just like jumping in head first, because that's something that I've tried to embrace throughout my recovery as well, like starting before I'm ready and just go for it, because what's the worst that could happen? You'll fail, and like that's not the end of the world. You learn something.
And that's excellent right there. I need everybody to understand, like Maddi just said, what is the worst that can happen? You'll fail. Okay, dust yourself off and get up and try again. Right? Guess what? But we're survivors. We've already, quote unquote, failed at something, but we survived that. We failed. We had a short stint where we failed at, as when we went through that stroke. If I want to break it down like that, we went through the stroke. We may have partially failed, where our brain failed in the sense that we had that disconnect. But guess what? As a survivor, we've now got back up. And every single day we're getting back up and we're learning and we're pushing ourselves more and more. So we're learning each day. So it does suck, as most survivors say, oh, it sucks the fact that we're adults and we got to keep starting over and over again. Yes, it sucks. But guess what? My motivation is because I want to learn better. I want to push myself. I want to do more. So it's either, as you said, look for that positivity and look for those things that keep you going. Or if you have that point that you're feeling a little down or depressed, don't stay there. You gotta figure out a way to get you out of that. Well, you can't stay there, because staying there, you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna get anywhere if you stay in the same place. We can't. Woe is me. We may have those moments that we do, but woe is me. Guess what? Let's push forward from there. And we gotta find. And it's not. And I'm not trying to be negative, because I'm saying it as a survivor, but we gotta find something to get us up out of that.
I'm curious, Tracy, because we were talking a lot about connecting. And reaching out to your support system when you are feeling the moments of unmotivation. What other ways do you use yourself? What other tools do you use in your own life when you're feeling unmotivated?
Well, the craziest part is, because everybody knows I love working out. So I'll say myself, well, if I tell somebody like, oh, I had a crappy workout, I didn't really do a workout. To me, my little not doing a workout is a real workout to other people. So like I have to turn around and say to my workout community or my people I'll call brothers or sisters, like, hey, I need you to beat me up today. So
yeah,
that's my next level of, hey, I need you to take me to the next level, because I'll do my normal workout. That's normal to me. I need you to take it to the next level. And I need you to get me out of my funk to push me a little further. So that's where mine is. So everybody's going to find it different. Mine is, unfortunately, mine crazily, it relates to everything in the gym, beating me up in the gym. If I can't do it myself, I need an extra push. My extra motivation comes from, hey, I'm turning my body and turning myself over for somebody else to beat it up out of me. So that's mine. That's where I get mine from.
And it's all perspective too. Like, think about it. You could be feeling down, like on a day, like you're doing a workout. Maybe you're not really feeling up to it. But when you think about it, how lucky are you that you get to work out, that you can do a workout? Maybe it doesn't look the same as how it did before. I know for me, it certainly doesn't look the same, but I get the chance to do that and to work at it. And that's crazy amazing.
It is. It is. So, and I like how you said, so I'm the person that always use crazy for everything, but crazy amazing, that is like the fact that I can do that. And I don't take it for granted, because so many people say like, well, it's funny because they'll say the first title they'll say to me is, you're crazy. You always doing, you work out a million times, a million hours, and you'll do the darndest thing. Like, but it's the excitement that gets me. So at maybe in my head that I'll say, okay, maybe that was a little crazy, but the fact that I've actually done it and I've successfully did it, that gives me a different type of like enjoyment to say, okay, yeah, that was a little crazy, but I did it. Or even I'll go into something that I may not have done since pre-stroke or post-stroke, that once I do it, I'm like, and going into it, I really don't give myself a chance to say like, hey, I may not be able to do it. I just jump up there and do it without thought. And then after, I'll give my own self a praise, like, oh, okay, I still got it. So
Exactly.
but I mean, all of those things, it's just great all the way around, just to be the blessing to be able to do these things. And so for other people, I'm always telling them, even if you can't do it at the level that I'm doing it, find what your enjoyment is. And my enjoyment is taking this to the next level in the gym, working out, and just feeling that it just gives me just a different type of enjoyment to be beat up in the gym and to take my body through those things. It does sound crazy, but that's where I get mine from.
You know, I like that focus on taking it to the next level.
Yes. Well, Maddi, I didn't, like we said, I wanted to keep this. Maddi has to get back to work, and this is great. I just wanted to touch base on the basic conversation, hearing it from both sides, just giving you different ideas of how to get your support system. So summing it up, Maddi has some great points talking about we really need to have that toolbox. And that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it the toolbox.
The toolbox?
Yes, we all need a toolbox. Maddi, what's in your toolbox?
So in regards to motivation, in my toolbox there's a couple of things. I would say meditation is a tool I use a lot. Hydration. I don't drink enough water, so I'm always working on like trying to be just generally more hydrated. And usually when I do have like a drink of water or something, I always feel better. Be it a headache, pain, like whatever. Water heals all. And connecting with our support system, we talked about, that is a huge one for me. When I'm feeling unmotivated, reaching out to a friend, a family member, a mentor, just like connecting with someone, and yeah, that connecting with this community as well. All of it. Chloe just says I'll have some water now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Really same. I was just thinking that I need more.
Okay, that's the cue for us all to drink some water now. There we go.
Yes, yeah, now everyone's got a drink. But I would say those are like the main things. Although you also meant, I would say there's actually one other. For you working out, Tracy, I like to work out too, but in a different way. Like, I love to walk. I walk everywhere. I walk every day. And it's things like when I'm feeling unmotivated, like maybe I'll just go for a little walk, think about things. And it's one of those things, like I want to do it as often as possible because I can. And I know what it was like to not be able to walk, like quite vividly remember that. So now I'm like, I need to be moving just all the time, or as much as I can.
And that's excellent. I like how you said that. You remember that thought. You take yourself back to that moment where you could not. And there's so much joy in the fact of being able to do the things that you could not. And that's a great thing for us as survivors to think about when we're going through that moment that we may be stuck in that depressed state, or just the apathy is just taking over. There was a point that we could, and then that reminds me, I always, when working with other survivors, this one in particular I'm thinking of, and she was just having just completely frustrated. I had to tell her, I said, hey, guess what? I had to literally pull out a video from the archive. Like, guess what? Remember when we first started? This was you in the wheelchair.
It's important to document like
Yeah.
your day to day as well, so that you do have like in your toolbox resources you can look back on. Like, oh, I'm feeling kind of down. Oh, but look, here's a video of me from 5 years ago when I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't walk at all.
That is excellent, Maddi. That, so listen, she's giving us all the keys that we need to have in there too. The resources of those archives is that right there. Out of all of them, I'm gonna say that's one of the greatest of taking yourself back to the moments where you could not. And now you're at the point where you can't. It may not be to the point of where you like it or where you want to be, but if you continue to push from there, you will surpass where you are now and get to the next level. So that's going to give you a new goal to reach of what's your next stage of where you're going to be from there. So that's excellent too. Thank you so much, Maddi.
And I think the important thing to remember before we end is that it is a process, and yes, we're constantly changing, growing, and evolving. But I think it's important to appreciate the fact that it's a process and stay like grounded in the moment, because by focusing on bettering ourselves in the moment, that's how we will make the progress to see the changes that we want to see down the line.
That's it. And that was a great note to leave on, in the moment right there, Maddi. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Maddi, I thank you so much. I'm gonna share this on here, and then I'll send it to you so you'll have it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, Tracy.
I'll talk to you soon. Everybody follow. This is Matt. I'm gonna say your name wrong, so you tell her.
Maddi. My name is Maddi. My
IG.
stroke of luck. But yeah, connect with me there. I would love to meet you all.
Maddi Stroke of Luck. And I'm gonna make sure I tag her on here when I download this, guys. Thank you so much, Maddi. Enjoy the rest of your day, darling.
Thanks, Tracy.
Bye.